What's up, guys? Welcome into Let's Bet It. Lauren Jabari here with Mark Zinno. Zinno, happy Tuesday. Taco Tuesday. How are we today? How are you? I miss you. I haven't seen you in a minute.
I know it feels like it's been forever, and we live down the block from each other here in Atlanta.
Seriously.
So yeah, it's been a long time. Taco Tuesday. I'm feeling the fish Taco Tuesday this evening. Little grilled mahi, possibly a little slaw, maybe a little cilantro lime dressing. There we go.
Stick it all in there. Mahi mahi, but just
You
one
ain't kidding.
mahi because I'm not that hungry. That's fun. Do
Ah,
you know
there
what
you
movie
go.
that's
Yes.
from? Do you know what movie that's
No.
from? It's
No.
House Bunny. You need to watch it. That was like a long
Oh,
time
I'm
ago
sorry.
with Anna Faris. It's a good movie. Highly recommend.
I'll
Lots
take
to
your
get
word for
into
it.
today. Yeah, you got to get into it. Try it out. Let me know what you think. Report back. Lot to get into today. NBA Morning Radar. Some different rule changes going on in the league right now, and we have Summer League going on right now. We're going to break some of that down. WNBA picks. I have one of them today. We haven't been betting on the WNBA a lot, but time to give the ladies some attention that they need and they deserve. All right. And then we have our Better Up segment getting into some MLB picks as well. Lots of games going on today. So without further ado, Mark Zinno, let's get into it. Let's bet it. NBA Morning Radar. Let's talk about some of these rule changes that are going on right now. So the NBA is looking to add a stiffer punishment for transition fouls heading into next season. Transition fouls are going to be one free throw and the ball if the team on defense takes the foul. Is this a good rule, do you think, for the league to enforce? And how does that impact how you look at NBA totals as in general as a whole?
I mean, I think it decides more sides necessarily than totals. I mean, typically, when a team misses a bunch of free throws, that's the difference between them covering and not covering. Not so much them getting over the total or under the total. At least that's my feeling on it, at least from a game standpoint. It'd be hard pressed to look at when I see a total fall a point or two short and I'm on the over going, oh, well, they missed 5 transition free throws, and that's the reason why they did it. I'd look at their
Yeah.
shooting percentage overall. I mean, there's a lot of other reasons I think that go into it. Their 3-point shooting percentage, whatever it may be. Of course, free throws are in there, but I don't like this rule simply from a game flow standpoint. I mean, I can just see a transition foul happening, the whistle blowing, and then it taking an extra 30
Yeah.
seconds for everybody to lollygag all the way down the court, set it up, ref give them the ball, take it just feels like it's going to slow down the pace of the game. How many transition fouls are they calling a game? I haven't even studied the number because it's just like one of those things where I haven't really bothered to invest the time into thinking about it. But that's my initial reaction. Just the pace of game feels like it's going to start to drag.
Yeah. I also agree with you on that one. It's going to be interesting to see what the players think of it moving forward. But something I am really excited about that the NBA is doing, the Board of Governors officially approved the play-in tournament as a regular part of the future league seasons. I know in the past it's been, voted on a year-to-year basis, but this consists of the 7th place, 8th place, 9th place, and 10th place team playing in a little play-in tournament for that 7th spot and that 8th spot. Obviously, the winner of 7 and 10 gets the 7th spot. The winner of 8 and 9 plays the loser of 7 and 10, 7 and 8 play for the 7th spot. The loser of that game plays the winner of 9-10. I don't know what I was doing for a second, but I'm excited about this because it keeps those teams that are kind of close to the edge there still having a chance to win, and it makes it more competitive towards the end of the season. So do you agree? Should the NBA keep the play-in tournament or not really?
I mean, I liked it from the standpoint of anytime you create a single elimination game, you're providing watchable product, right? And Major League Baseball
Yeah.
tried this with the wild card, with the one game elimination wild card that they've now done away with. And as much as people called it manufactured drama, and it was, still watch, and you were still interested, and it was still exciting.
Manufactured drama. I watched the Kardashians.
Well, you just like
Come
drama.
on.
Who you kidding? You don't care whether it's manufactured or not. So,
I
Lauren
don't
Drama
like to be a part
Jabara.
of the drama, but I
I
like
know.
to
Well, you
know
like
the
to watch
drama,
other people experience it. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Like any good millennial, I want somebody else to have the drama that I don't have to deal with. We love
Yeah,
you, seriously.
exactly.
But nonetheless, so from that standpoint, I kind of enjoy it. But in reality, are you making it? is anybody who's in the play-in tournament more likely to upset a 1 seed? And I don't necessarily know that that's the barometer that I need to measure whether the play-in tournament has value, but you're already making the 8-1 seed is such a huge gap already. Having them play an extra game or 2 extra games in 2 extra days, just doesn't seem like it really is a solution for any competitive basketball in round 1. I'm curious to see, because I think the Western Conference team who won the play-in tournament, they both got bounced swept in 5 games, and the same thing in the East. I'm curious to see if that is going to be a trend that continues.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Hawks was a gentleman's sweep. They won 1 game against the Heat. Give them a little bit more credit where credit's due, Zeno. Come on now. But does this
I said 4 and 5 games.
Yeah. Does this impact how you look at the miss-make market and playoff market and odds? Because you're betting on some of these teams like the Pelicans who wouldn't have necessarily had a chance to make it into the postseason, and they did. You know what I mean? Like, it's like different teams like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on whether they're counting making the play-in tournament as making the playoffs, so you have to actually win the 7 and 8 seed to count.
You have to win the 7 and 8 to be considered making the playoffs. I don't think they count the play-in tournament.
Yeah, that to me actually
double check me on that, but I'm pretty sure.
That to me actually detracts me from betting on teams that could finish in the play-in tournament, right? Because on a team could be markedly better but lose in a play-in tournament game and not make the postseason. Anytime you put a coin flip scenario together, you're always at risk of losing. There's always a greater risk of losing in a single game sample set than over a series. So why would I want to wager on something and have it come down to a 50-50 opportunity? I don't feel like you've eliminated enough variance there, right? So for me, it would detract me from picking, hypothetically speaking, again, the Pelicans to make the postseason, because if they're in the play-in tournament, they could get bounced in 1 game and be done.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I have a hard time betting to make the playoff and to not make the playoffs anyways. It's hard for me to bet some of these really far in the futures, if that makes sense, because I don't like my money just sitting there. I like the NRFIs, the YRFIs, the get in, the get out, the win the money, the lose the money, whatever you do. But it's hard for me to have some of these futures where I have to wait 82 games just to see if these teams are going to be making the play-in tournament or making the postseason. But we'll see if that changes heading into this season. Let's take it from the NBA to the WNBA, because the women deserve some attention. There's 5 games going on tonight. The LA Sparks and Washington Mystics is the game that stood out to me when I was looking at some of these odds. The Mystics I have laying 4.5 points in this spot. The last time they played was on June 21st. The Sparks won 84-82. It was a really close game. But Elena Del Don did not play for the Mystics in that game. This is a chick that's averaging 16 points per game. She's shooting 47.4% from the field, 38.6% from beyond the arc. She has been so good, and the Mystics have been phenomenal when she's been on the floor for them. They're 11-4 with Del Don available. They're 3-6 when she has been out nursing her back injury. She's expected to play tonight, and that's worth backing the Mystics for that reason alone. But another reason, if that's not enough for you, is the LA Sparks have the 2nd worst net rating in the WNBA. The defense is a huge reason for that. The LA is the 2nd worst defensive rating in the WNBA. It's lack of consistent defensive performance, and that's not going to cut it against a team like the Mystics, who I have offensively right now are so solid. And so the third reason I look at is I'm just expecting a huge performance from Washington today. And the Sparks have only won the previous meeting between this team because Del Don was out for the Mystics in that game, who still, they nearly came back from a 12-point deficit after 3 quarters, and they only lost by 2 points. But I just think the Mystics are going to look like a very different team with Elena Del Don in the lineup. And I was trying to bet her points prop. They don't have those props up right now. But whatever her points prop is, whenever they put that out, I'm betting the over in it, because LA Sparks defense is not very good, and the Mystics offense is really good. So I like the Mystics laying 4.5 points in this spot. Let's make it happen, baby. Give the ladies credit where credit is due. Elena Del Don on fire this season. She's going to keep it rolling today. Again, the Mystics are 11-4 when she's in the lineup. shows what she does for that team. So WNBA, 5 games on tonight. It's going to be exciting. Exciting? Exciting. Okay, let's take it from the court to the park, baby. Pull out your hot dogs, pull out your peanuts, sit back and listen to our trends, okay? Here's a new game, Zeno, that I started to look up. Is the trend your friend? I looked up a couple trends and I want to know if you're going to be backing them today. It's not even like necessarily a bet that you're taking, but if you're going to be backing some of these trends or if you'd fade the trend in this position. So the first one I'm looking at is the Rockies taking on the Padres. The Rockies run line. The Padres are 0-11 on the run line in their last 11 games at Coors Field. Would you back the trend and take the Rockies run line?
I mean, this is a starter-based thing, whether I do it. See, it's either, when I see a streak like this, it's either I follow the streak or I stay off. I don't try to find a spot necessarily to break the streak unless I get a specific matchup. So, and I haven't studied this game. It's not one of the games that's on my card today. But real briefly, as you look, Austin Gomber's on the mound. My favorite, Austin Gomber, my NRFI, Austin Gomber at Coors Field. You know, I don't know that this is a spot where I would try to break it, right? Gomber's given up a ton of runs this year. He hasn't necessarily been great. And Clevenger's going for the Padres, although he's been a little bit more effective. And that is a big, big number. But this Padres lineup can score. And so my fear is that if Gomber gets rocked early, it'll be hard for Colorado to get back in this thing against a pitcher like Clevenger. However, if the Rockies can score first, I feel a good chance that San Diego would get back in it, so that would aid to the over coming in. I mean, you know, it's a real matchup based thing. But whenever I see a considerable streak, either I jump in and tail the streak, or I just pass and wait for it to end.
So is this a tail or a pass? It's not official bets that you're making, but would you tail or would you pass?
Not an official bet. I mean, I would probably pass on this one.
Okay. Guardians run line. They're taking on the White Sox. The White Sox are 0-4 on the run line in the last 4 at Progressive Field. Do you take the Guardians run line or do you pass?
The Guardians have been a very good run line team this year. So, I mean, that's one of a streak that I would look to sort of buy into in this. And this is a good pitching matchup today between these two teams. The one thing I think that scares me off is it's a day game. Like, that sort of throws me off here. But Bieber's a quality pitcher. I know. It's a weird thing. And that's something that freaks me out. Like, it's one of those, like, if I jump into it and it hits, I'm like, okay, good. If I jump into it and it fails, I'm like, what the hell what was I doing getting into a 1 o'clock Tuesday day game, not at Wrigley Field, right? Like, what am I doing here? So, and you know, I think in general, with Bieber going, well, is there a doubleheader today between these two? That's what it is. There's a doubleheader. That's why there's a day game.
There's a doubleheader.
So, yeah,
all these
the first
games are
one,
getting written down and these doubleheaders are being scheduled.
I know, and that's the problem. I don't like the in this spot. I would stay away from the doubleheader with the team on a streak because one of these two games is probably going to end it. Now, if it gets snapped in the first game, I would play it again in the second, buy back into what the streak was in the second. If it hits in the first game, I'd play the snap in the second game just because it's a doubleheader.
Yeah. One or the other, baby. I have 2 more trends for you before we get into our bets. You'll like this one because it's a NRFI trend. No run first inning. Giants taking on the Diamondbacks. The Giants' NRFI has hit in the last 6 games against the National League. Do you back the trend and take another NRFI today?
Oh, God. I was talking about this with our producer, Justin, that the Marlins of all teams, after the series they had with the Mets, and I don't even know what they did last night. I don't even know if they played. I was too focused on Mets Braves. But they had went 13 consecutive games without allowing a run in the first inning. And when they played the Mets, and I'm going to answer your question, before the series with the Mets at Citi Field, where the Mets never give up runs and they score a ton of runs in the first inning, I tried to break the streak. I did it in game 1. It didn't hit. I doubled down and went back in game 2, and it still didn't hit. Then I stayed away from game 3, and the streak continued again. So, no, it didn't. They blanked him again. So I'm like, yeah, I mean, case in point there of what you're talking about. some of this is matchup based. And the only reason I tried to buy into the break the streak is because of the numbers that severely leverage the Mets against the Marlins. The numbers severely leverage the Giants here against the Diamondbacks. I don't necessarily know and think that they do. Dallas Keuchel is a rocky starter. I actually looked at his walk prop today a little bit too, and his strikeout prop. So I don't know what you're going to get from him. He's only made, I think, 2 starts in Arizona since coming over from Chicago, and it continues to be a mixed bag. However, he didn't walk a single batter in his last start. So if he stays away from the walks, this could be another NRFI that goes, but I don't know. The Giants have been inconsistent on offense as of late. There's just too much variance for me to even walk into this one. So this would be a complete stay away.
Yeah. Okay, we're passing it all 3 so far. We got one more trend. Hopefully I get you on this one. The Marlins taking on the Pirates. The Marlins are 5-0 as favorites in their last 5 games following a loss. Do you back that? Do you take the Marlins?
I do. I like the Marlins today. Now,
yes, I got them on one, you guys.
You
one
do.
Let's go.
The problem is pricing, right? And this is what would -1.5 at +134. I feel like isn't enough plus return money given where we are. So, for example, again, take the Mariners against one of the worst teams in the National League, the Washington Nationals. They're laying 1.5, but they're +146. So I'm getting an extra 12 cents. I mean, I'm not getting the Pirates are one of the worst teams in the league. And that number, that payout should be higher for me to go -1.5. And it's hard for me to back the Marlins at -148 on the money line. So pricing is an issue, but I like the Marlins. For me, I would probably wait and see if I can get a better price closer to first pitch. But I do like the Marlins tonight.
Okay, he's back in the trend, baby. Marlins, let's go. They're 5-0 in their last 5 as favorites following a loss. Let's get into our picks today because you got some money lines, you got a total, you got a walk prop, I have strikeout props. We're kind of hitting like the whole gamut in this show today. So I'll let you start with your money line bets, and then we'll go more specific with the props.
I will save one of my money line bets for my POD here, but let's start right here.
I have a strikeout prop for my POD. I mean, what's new? That's what I love to do. Come on.
Shocker there. The only more strikeouts we see are guys who ask you out, Lauren. That's about it. The one money line bet that I have, that's the only K rate higher than the Baltimore Orioles and the Atlanta Braves this year and the Angels. So there is that. Let's stay here in Atlanta. Mets and Braves. Now, full disclosure, yesterday I hit the NRFI in the Mets-Braves game and the first 5 under 3.5. So I was kind of surprised initially. that the Braves were installed as a favorite, but I get it. They're home. They're the hotter team right now. A lot of pressure on the Mets. Braves ace on the hill. And so I get that they were a slight favorite. But the Mets at plus money, even though I stayed off the money line, the Mets at plus money would have been a great bet yesterday. Now, the Braves are actually a bigger favorite today. They're starting Spencer Strider, the mustache man, Strider bro, mustache
who's
bro.
Coming off of a 12 strikeout performance in his last start.
Yeah. Now, he's going up against David Peterson of the Mets. Now, the Braves this year have been worse against lefties than they have against righties overall. They've hit less home runs. They strike out more. But yet, in some weird reason, they walk more against lefties. I saw that and was a little bit perplexed by it. That all said, when I look at the numbers here for this game, this money line is continuing. Last night, it was Mets plus 1.6, and I was willing to jump on it. I checked earlier before the show. It's at plus 166. I am not walking away simply from a Mets plus 166 money line against anybody this year. They're too good of a team. That's way too much money for me to pass up. Even if they lose, I don't care because getting 16 cents back on my dollar is an absolutely worthwhile investment with the best team in the NL East. The hard part is that they're going up against Spencer Strider. Strider has been banged around. In 2 of his starts this year, he's been nearly flawless in the rest of them. And you guys know me, huge Spencer Strider guy here. I blind bet Spencer Strider K-props like it's nobody's business. So I understand it, but I'm just following the money here. And the fact that there is enough money coming in publicly on the Braves because of Strider makes me fade it and take this at a very favorable plus 166 on the money line.
Yeah, it's because of Strider and the fact that the Braves are 21-9 against lefties this year in terms of money line. They've won 21 out of the 30 games they've played against lefties so far. So because of those numbers, but you are right, following the money could be the way to go here. It's game 2 of 3 for the Mets Braves. I'll actually be there tonight working that game, pre and post game. Yesterday it was
Oh, yeah?
rocking, like absolutely
Was
rocking
it?
on a Monday night. It's like people are
Are
treating
you
this
going to
like
go
the
on TV
playoffs in
today? Can
July.
you,
It's crazy.
when you get on TV today, can you put on one of them little fake mustaches when you start your show?
I actually
That would be
should.
awesome.
That's actually a
You
good idea. I'm
should.
gonna actually go to the dollar store after this and maybe
I think you
buy.
should go get one of those mustaches and come up there just in
Okay.
honor and say, welcome. I'm Lauren Jabara. Spencer Strider in the house tonight.
We
That's
got
like
the
a very
Strata
Jabara-like
Slata.
intro.
Brian
There we
Jordan
go.
always says
See?
that. The Strata
Um,
Slata. We'll get into it
anyway,
tonight. That's gonna be an exciting matchup. You're saving the other money line. We won't get into that until best bet of the day. What else do you got today?
yep.
You got a total and you also have
Okay.
a walk
Yeah.
prop.
Total between the Dodgers and the Cardinals over 8.5. Now, this was at 9 at even money this morning. And then, I waited 5 minutes, checked on something else, came back, and they moved it to 8.5 at minus 120. And I said, okay, I'll pay the extra 20 cents here for
And
this
I
thing to
said
hit on 9.
fine.
Yeah. Right. I said fine. So the thing is here, the two starters tonight in this matchup, one, Matthew Liberatore is just he's like a video game. You just put a quarter in and runs start going around. That's the way he's pitched this year for the Cardinals. And Mitch White, equally as middle of the road. He has not been fantastic by any stretch, but he's been okay. So this is one of the best lineups in baseball, and the Dodgers, I think they're going to score enough. And the Cardinals have scored a ton at home this year. They're much better at scoring at home than they are on the road. So you're getting two mid-level starters, probably a below-average starter in Liberatore, enough for me to take this number. 9, I was willing to do it at even money. At 9.5, I would walk away from this thing. But you give me 8.5, I'll pay the extra 10 cents on the juice from the standard vig and back the over here in this spot. And then I'm going to close out my card in homage, if you will, to our friend Jared Lee Smith with a walk prop here, because the same pitcher who is starting for
He's not here, Zeno, but he's here in spirit.
I know. Well, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to revive him. I hope he's watching
Jared,
on
this
our
one's for
Pickswise
you.
YouTube channel. Matthew Liberatore of the St. Louis Cardinals. His walk prop over 2.5. What I couldn't get past here, Lauren, was the payout price of plus 155. Liberatore's walked 3 batters in 3 of his last 5 starts against the Dodgers, who are the second best walk rate team in Major League Baseball behind the Yankees. It's too much to pass up. It's a great price value wise for him to hit this thing. Even if I lose, I don't mind from a standpoint of, again, I'm going to get 15 cents back on my dollar investment here. It's worth it to roll the dice and gamble that a guy who walks a ton and has got a whip of 1.74 this year, that he'll walk 3 batters. If he lasts to the 5th inning, he's probably walking 3 guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that. For my card, I have 3 strikeout props. I'm saving 1 for my best bet of the day. One of them, though, I bet it late last night, early this morning after I got off of work, and now it's not on there anymore. I'm still going to give it. Hopefully they put it back, but it is that Dylan Cease strikeout prop number. Obviously that game starts at 1:20 p.m., whatever it is. I like the Dylan Cease under 7 Ks. He's a machine. He can usually hit this prop in most matchups, but against the Guardians, this really is a difficult battle for him because Cleveland at this point of the season only has a 16.3% K rate against righties over the last 2 weeks, and they also have a WRC plus of 114. So pitchers aren't pitching as long into the game against them, and they're also not striking out guys as well. He faced Cleveland back on April 21st, only struck out 3 batters in that game over 5 1/3 innings, and he allowed 4 earned runs in that game. So if they do put that back up, bet the Dylan Cease under strikeout prop. I bet it at under 7. I think he's probably going to get 5, maybe 6. I don't think that he's going to be able to surpass 7. So we'll see what happens there. One of them I'm saving for my best bet of the day, and I'm only laying 22 cents for it. But the other one I'm looking at is Chris Sale, over 4.5 strikeouts. And I know it's a little juicy. I'm laying 48 cents for it. But, I can't tell you what Dylan Cease is going to, or I mean, not Dylan Cease, Chris Sale is going to do today. He's probably going to be at a pitch count tonight. But this matchup is solid for him tonight for a K prop. The Rays are striking out at basically a 30% rate. So 1 in every 3 guys is basically striking out, 29.8% against lefties over the last 2 weeks. That's the second worst in Major League Baseball, only behind the Angels. And even when Sale struggled last season, right? He struck out 52 batters over 42 2/3 innings. So 5 in this game is not too far-fetched for me. And I know it's juicy, 48 cents. People are liking it, but Chris Sale, I'm still going for it. Over 4.5 Ks against the Rays. So it rhymes too. Also, you have a NRFI. Also, in our group chat, so we can put in our name when we get into this chat thing. And Zeno puts his name today as Hot Guy. So
no. I didn't put that in there. That just automatically pre-populates. That's how it. That's
okay. Hot guy when it comes to his picks. He's a hot guy picker.
One time, I think it showed up as Lawrence B. So, you finished in the rest of that word.
That is actually true. That actually is true. True statement.
I don't know how these names end up in there. I'm just going to put Costanza in going forward. So there is that. All right, really quick. I told you earlier that I hit the NRFI between the Mets and the Braves with Max Scherzer, Max Fried. Now I'm doubling back again today, baby. I'm going to stay on this NRFI between these two teams because all the pitchers in this series are really good. Now, yesterday it was minus 132. This actually came down this morning to minus 102 on the under. Let's run with it.
Wow.
Let's do it again. It's such a favorable price. Peterson might give up a home run to Acuna on the first pitch he throws to him. That's a very distinct possibility. If Riley gets up in the first, he might go yard again. But still, that's the one way I think it happens. Yeah, if they can avoid, and I think Strider will. I don't think somebody, the problem with Strider when you throw 102 miles an hour is that if somebody halfway strong sticks the bat out, the ball's going to go 370 feet. So there is that danger. But they avoid the long ball. I feel really good about back-to-back NRFIs in this series here, so I'm going to play that as well.
Braves NRFI, Braves Mets NRFI, baby. Let's go. Let's talk about your fees for a second, or your fees on the website. I was trying to talk about yes picks, yes 3-star picks on the website. I know that just wasn't a good transition, but we're going to transition anyways. Pickswise.com. Who do we got for our 3-star play of the days before we get into our best bets?
We do have one baseball play up there from Mark Lammy, or is it Lamy? Mark Lammy. He's got the Yankees minus 1.5. Mark Lammy minus 1.5 against the Reds here. By the way, a very decent price at minus 140. Yankees, best team in baseball. Reds, one of the worst teams in baseball. Seems to all add up, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting matchup between those two teams, I guess. It's just fun watching the Yankees play, to be honest with you. They're such a fun team to watch. So, yeah, make sure to get on that, Pickswise.com. Check out our 3-star play of the day. Our best bets of the day. Who you got? I got another strikeout prop. Surprise, surprise. But who do you got?
Well, Lauren, I'm going to buy into a streak here and hop along board with the red-hot Baltimore Orioles. Yep, let's go back to the city of the wire, baby. Charm City, the city that reads, the city that bleeds, my old stomping ground. Baltimore Orioles in Chicago tonight to take on the Cubs in a rare night game where the Cubs are worse at home during night than they are on the road. Orioles' best starter on the mound in Jordan Lyles. This is a team during this 8-game winning streak. They're batting nearly 260. They have 7 home runs in 8 games. They have 16 doubles. Their offense is clicking right at the right time. And this is a win, by the way, that if the Orioles get it, they will reach the 500 mark since the first time since the Obama administration. So from that standpoint, it feels, I don't think they might have been 1-1 at one point, but you get the point. This late in the season.
That's been a minute or two.
It's been a minute or two. So it's a big win for the Orioles. I know they're primed for it. Again, they're going on the road. 7 out of those 8 games on the win streak came at Camden Yards, but I like them in this spot here against the Cubs, who have a below 500 record at home this year. So let's back the Baltimore Orioles to get back to 500 and go O's, baby.
I know. I told Alex, I'm like, looky, your O's, they're really on fire right now. He goes, they're not my O's. I'm like, wait, so you like the Ravens, but not the Orioles? He goes, exactly. Yeah. So fun fact about him. He's one of
those Baltimoreans. He's a Baltimorean.
Yeah, Baltimore. He is. Love him to death. Baltimore. That's hilarious. Okay, I'm kind of backing Mark Lammy's pick a little bit, just in a different way. Garrett Cole, over 7.5 strikeouts, and I'm only laying 22 cents for it. I know it's a high threshold, but this guy is an absolute workhorse, and this is a great matchup for him. He's managed to go over this total in 8 starts so far this season. He's surpassed 7.5 strikeouts, Zeno, in 8 starts so far. That's really good last time I checked. And he's facing the Reds, who have the second highest strikeout rate against righties over the last 2 weeks. They're striking out at a 31% rate right now. That's every third guy is striking out. And they only have an 82 WRC plus over that same span and a 4.4% walk rate. This game is just set up for Garrett Cole to punch people out. I love Garrett Cole. I love the over here, over 7.5 strikeouts. Lay in 22 cents for it. Go Yankees, go Cole, go us. That's it for our show today, guys. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Mark Zinno. I'm Lauren Jabara. Best of luck tonight. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a great night. Let's get it. Let's bet it.